Blue Stone. Years passed. No one knew where the legend had been born. Stories spread, names changed, details blurred, but the land remembered. The city of Blue Stone rose quietly along an old trade route in Louisiana, modest, stubborn, and deeply rooted in silence. Just beyond its limits lay a place no map named openly. They called it Dead Valley, 10 square miles of land where sunlight never fully arrived. Even on clear days, a dense fog clung to the ground, thick and wet, carrying the stench of rot. A blackish-blue substance crept across the stones like moss, not alive, yet growing. It released a faint gas that burned the lungs and poisoned the soil. Nothing grew there, nothing nested, no bird crossed the sky above it. Any living being that came too close felt at first in the chest a sudden tightness, followed by dread. Not fear of something seen, but of something felt. A pressure on the heart, a corruption of thought, malice without reason. Priests came, nuns followed, shamans, healers, preachers of every known faith. They prayed, they burned incense, they blessed the land. Nothing changed. Even under a full moon, when other places looked sacred or beautiful, Dead Valley twisted the light. The moon itself appeared warped, obscene. No one who stood near that land could form a good thought. November 21st, 1947, 9 p.m. A cold wind rolled in from the north. Storm clouds crowded the sky, splitting occasionally with distant lightning. A caravan approached the edge of Blue Stone. At its head walked Joseph Iron Jack Carter, a man hardened by distance and hunger. He led mules and donkeys burdened with supplies, 9 hunting and guard dogs, and several pigs locked in wooden cages for breeding. He had come south from dry, exhausted land in search of something better. Food was running low. Water was already rationed. Behind him followed his family and 8 others who trusted his leadership. Joseph Carter was not a man who believed in things he could not see. Fear had never ruled him. Problems were solved with few words, and when words failed, he carried a 10-inch knife, kept sharp enough to shave his face. He traveled with his wife, Mary, pregnant with their 4th child. Their children, Adam, Tim, and Beatrice, were all under 10. Some of the animals were pregnant as well. That made Joseph dangerous. A man protecting his young does not negotiate. When his legs finally failed him, he knew he could not push the caravan further. They made camp. Immediately, unease settled over everyone. Arguments sparked without cause. Tempers rose as they unloaded the animals. The mules resisted fiercely, refusing to shed their burdens. The dogs whined low and constant, eyes fixed on the fog. Something was wrong with the land. Joseph left camp with Manny Woodpecker Hale, a thin, nervous man with sharp eyes, to gather firewood and search for fresh water. They walked longer than expected. The farther they went, the more the land decayed. Soon they stood before something that stopped them cold. A shattered grave, no name, no marker, only stone cracked from within, coated in foul moss. They said nothing. They walked on. Hours later, they found a small, collapsing house at the edge of the trees. An old woman opened the door. Her name was Grace Holloway. She was near 60, though her face looked closer to 100, skin dry and split, eyes hollow, the eyes of someone who had learned to live beside terror instead of escaping it. She stared at the 2 men in disbelief. When Joseph explained where they had camped, her expression changed. Fear overtook reason. She gathered her things at once. She insisted on returning with them. Despite their objections, she led the way, choosing a long, winding path, deliberately avoiding the area near the broken grave. When questioned, she ignored them. Time mattered more than answers. By the time they reached the camp, damage had already been done. Animals thrashed wildly. 3 mules had broken free and fled into the fog. The families were shaken, spiritually drained. Grace began to pray immediately. Without debate, they dismantled the camp. They gathered what supplies they could carry and followed her back to her home along a steep, dangerous route. Much was left behind, but it was safer. Exhaustion followed them like a shadow. Relief came only when Grace heard the cry of an owl. Life had returned to the land. They counted losses, built fires, slaughtered a pig to feed everyone. At dawn, Joseph and 2 men went searching for the missing animals. 5 hours passed. They found broken brush, deep drag marks carved into the dirt road, then pieces, flesh scattered along the path, bones snapped clean, no tracks, no blood trail leading away, only the evidence of something impossibly strong. 3 full-grown animals had been dragged. No predator Joseph knew could have done this. No sound had been heard, no struggle witnessed, only absence. Joseph returned to Grace's house with more questions than answers. He began to speak. She'd stopped him. She lit a 7-day candle kept hidden away, touched the old image of Christ on the wall, whispered prayers, crossed herself, kissed her hand before touching the frame again. Joseph said nothing. He knew she held answers and that she feared them. By midday, the caravan moved again, with fewer supplies, with lighter animals, and with a sense of relief that did not belong to safety, only distance. They left Dead Valley behind, but the land did not forget them, and Bluestone would not remain untouched forever.